Fun. All right. Know what it is? You know who it is. We're back. We got another episode of the Fight Cast, episode 34. Had a uh, good weekend in the UFC. I think it was a quiet weekend for boxing. We had one fight we watched, right? It's Conor Ben.
No,
Um,
no, he didn't end up happening because Conor Ben got COVID.
oh, all right. That didn't even happen. So strictly UFC weekend. There was also Bellator fight, which I didn't know. I have to start looking at those because I keep missing out on the Bellator and like these other promotion fights.
I,
Um,
I saw a meme earlier today talking about it was like Bellator, handing out $1 million bonuses like it's nothing.
yeah,
Meanwhile, UFC fighters, like if they don't win, they don't get their purse. It's got a guy like eating cereal, but there's nothing in the bowl.
Bellator might be on the rise. They're starting to get these guys. They're starting to get some bigger names. I don't know. We'll see. Um, but it was a good weekend for Bellator. They had Pitbull versus I forgot the other guy's name. Hold on.
AJ McKee.
McKee, yeah, AJ McKee. I forgot his name, but um, Patricio Ferrer is his name, aka Pitbull, fought AJ McKee, and he ended up winning. He submitted him, which is huge because I'm pretty sure Patricio was the double champ at that division. So the huge upset, and AJ McKee is actually looking, from what I understand, he's now either looking for a new contract from Bellator, or he wants to do a cross promotion fight from Bellator and UFC against Max Holloway, which I think would be a great fight, and that would be at the 145. So Max Holloway is easily one of the best fighters in the division, and he showed out last time because he fought Calvin Kattar. That was the first fight of the year, actually. I forgot how long ago that was. That was the first fight of the year, and he pieced up Calvin Kattar and had one of the best highlights in the UFC probably this year. So I definitely love to see that. But Bellator is on the rise, making some good fights, making some good stuff. So outside of that, the UFC fight night this weekend was Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland. I picked Uriah Hall, but Sean Strickland won by unanimous decision. Uriah Hall kind of went back to his old ways. He didn't really do too much, and Sean Strickland just outworked him and won by unanimous decision. The card was actually pretty exciting. There's a lot of big knockout or like good fights overall. Like the third fight, I think it was the third fight of the night was. Let me double check. I think it was Jared Gooden had a sick knockout on Nicholas Stoles, and then I believe it was Jason Witt and Brian Barberena. They had a really good fight that went to a decision. But Jared Gooden, he looked the part and he fucking played the part. He knocked that dude out cold. And there was a point in the beginning when he almost got guillotined, and he came back and just knocked the dude flat on his fucking face. So um, it was a good fight. And then Sean Strickland again beat Uriah Hall 5-round decision. Uriah Hall had a chance to kind of like cement himself here and kind of make up for lost time, and he didn't, which sucks because he's probably at least done at the championship level now, and I really was looking forward to see what he can do. But it looks like Sean Strickland's on the rise. He's definitely going to get a top 10 ranking here. Um, I'd love to see him go against Brendan Allen again, just because of how good Brendan looked. And I know Brendan lost to him the first time, but he's doing what he's got to do. I'm excited to see who he fights next. It's definitely going to be a top 10 fight, and just kind of see what he can put on, because he looks like he's doing everything he needs to. I don't like how much he like talks. He's kind of like corny when he talks in the ring or in the octagon. But anyways, this weekend is what I'm excited about. Well, I picked this weekend wrong. I picked Strickland, or I picked Uriah Hall, and he lost. So another L on the book for me. Let's hope this weekend is W filled, because I'm excited about this card. We got UFC 265. We got Derrick Lewis versus Ciryl Gane as the headliner. Got a lot of big names on this card, a lot of good fights. And I'm going to start from the bottom, and we're going to work our way up. So we got Song Yadong versus Casey Kenny. Casey Kenny coming off a loss against Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz being one of the best featherweights of all time, essentially. I don't think, and Casey Kenny was on a tear before that. I'm pretty sure, or bantamweight, sorry. Casey Kenny was on like a 5-fight win streak, I think, before he fought Dominic Cruz, and he looked good in every single, or 4-fight, sorry, 4-fight win streak, and he looked really good up until Dominic Cruz. And I think honestly, Dominic Cruz was a little bit of a step up for him in his last fight. And I think that what it was just too much too soon, because Dominic Cruz, although he's, you know, pushing age a bit, he is still literally one of the best fighters of all time. He's got one of the most unorthodox styles of all time. So fighting against someone with that much experience and like a high skill level like Dominic Cruz, I think that it's just, you know, you're bound to not do great. So he's fighting against Song Yadong, and Song Yadong, which I can't to keep saying that name. He's coming off a loss against Kyler Phillips, who just lost to a dude who was unranked. So um, I see Casey Kenny winning here. I think Casey Kenny's going to win by unanimous decision. I think it'll go 3 rounds. And I think, like I said, I think Casey Kenny's going to show out, and I think he's going to get himself back up because, you know, if you look at the last opponents, Casey Kenny's been fighting some good dudes, including Dominic Cruz, and Song Yadong just hasn't. So next fight, we got Tisha Torres versus Angela Hill. This I think is going to be a really good fight. I think it has fight of the night potential. Angela Hill is a fighter I've watched a couple times now, and she's got a lot of good skill set. She's been around for a while. She's a little bit older. She beat Michelle Waterson last time, or sorry, Ashley Yoder, and I believe she lost to Michelle Waterson. She fought her last. Before that, she lost to Claudia Gadella. So a couple big opponents, really. You know, Waterson's a high level strawweight, probably one of the better ones. And her last fight she beat against Ashley Yoder. Um, Tisha Torres is one of the bigger names in the division, and she's had a lot of potential. She's been on a tear. I'm pretty sure she's on a 2-fight win streak, and she hasn't fought in 2021. So this will be her first fight. I see Tisha Torres winning here. I think she's going to get a unanimous decision victory. Angela Hill's a tough fucker, and when she fought against Waterson, that was like a really good fight, and she was able to take a lot of shots. So I think Tisha Torres is going to win. I think she's going to do it handily, and I think it's going to be a unanimous decision. Next is the fight I'd say, well, I'm definitely not most excited for, but one of the fighters that I've continued to grow to like more and more, Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque. So Chiesa is, he's really stepping up lately, and he's started to impress me a lot in his fights. And he's done a lot on the ground because he's more of a jiu-jitsu guy. And he's had, I gotta pull up who he's last couple fights, but Neil Magny, he fought and he beat. Rafael Dos Anjos, he fought and beat. Diego Sanchez, he fought and beat. His last loss was to Anthony Pettis in 2018, and after that, he's been on a 5-fight win streak against some good talent. So Carlos Condit, Diego Sanchez, Rafael Dos Anjos, and then he beat Neil Magny earlier this year. And like I said, he's easily becoming one of my favorite fighters. He's got it all, and he looks good on his feet. It looks like he's getting better on his feet. And I think that fighting Luque, who's been on the rise, but honestly was 2 punches away from losing against Woodley. And as we see now, Woodley has kind of, you know, I think we knew he was on the way out, and Luque didn't look that good against Tyron Woodley. And now Woodley's about to fight Jake Paul. So I don't know what that tells you. You know, you can take that for yourself, do what you want with it. I think Vicente Luque finished that fight, but I think against Chiesa, it's not going to end well. I think he's going to get demolished, honestly. I think that Chiesa is going to do what he did to Neil Magny, and I think he's going to put him on his back, and I think he's going to just outclass him on the ground. And then I honestly think even if it gets to the feet, Chiesa is not going to do that because that's just not Chiesa's game. So I think what's going to happen here is Chiesa is going to go to a unanimous decision victory. Again, it'll go the 3 rounds. It'll go to the distance. and I think that Michael Chiesa will win. Second to last fight, we got Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munoz. So Jose Aldo, obviously, one of the more well-known fighters in the UFC. It's the most what's the word I'm looking for? Prominent moment coming by way of 13-second knockout to Conor McGregor, at least in the last couple of years. Um, he's only 34 years old. I think they said that there's someone who's older than him. I think it's TJ Dillashaw. I think TJ Dillashaw is older than Jose Aldo. And Jose Aldo's been in the UFC since like 2000, 2011, I think. So it's a long ass time. But Jose Aldo has he's fought some good talent. He's been on a skid. I think that ever since he fought Connor, he had some back and forths with, you know, his game, and I think that really kind of fucked with him. And he's been like up and down ever since when he was on a 10-year win streak. I don't think he lost in like 10 years. So he beat Frankie Edgar, then he lost to Max Holloway. Then he beat Jeremy Stevens, and then he lost to Marlon Moraes and Alexander Volkanovski, and then he lost to Peter Yan, beat Marlon Vera. So it's just like there's been up and down roller coaster, just kind of like throughout the last few years, ever since he lost to Connor. When like I said before that, he didn't lose for like 10 years. So Pedro Munoz, they're both the same age. Pedro Munoz has won his last fight against Jimmy Rivera. He lost his last fight before that against Frankie Edgar, and then he lost his fight before that against Aljamain Sterling. So again, tough talent. I think he's fought probably equal talent here. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo because I think that, Aldo is the better fighter overall. He's got a bigger arsenal. And I think that, he's on the way out. Realistically, I think that Aldo's probably got a couple good fights left. And I think this will be one of them. And I think he'll honestly, I see him hanging it up soon. He's just done so much in the UFC and kind of taken just so much damage that eventually he's got to, hang it up at some point. But I see him winning by unanimous decision. I think he's going to use the leg kicks. He's going to do what he needs to do. And he still looks good on his feet. I think that he's still got everything, just probably a step behind now at this point. But I think he's going to win by unanimous decision. Then we get to the fight of the night. My boy Derrick Lewis versus Ciryl Gane. If you look at this fight on aesthetics, you're always going to pick Ciryl Gane. But if you pick this fight the right way, Derrick Lewis is going to knock him out in the second round with an uppercut. Now, let me actually break down the fight. So, Derrick Lewis, probably my favorite fighter in UFC currently. He's just that dude, and he's been on a tear. He's old. He's 36, but he beat Curtis Blades in a fight that he shouldn't have won. He beat Alexei Olenek in a fight. He destroyed him, and so Alexei Olenek is like a black belt essentially, and Derrick Lewis like out wrestled him as a blue belt. He beat Lear Latifi before that. Let me see when his last loss was. His last loss looks like Mark Hunt. Oh no, he lost to DC. Oh, he fought Daniel Cormier. I'm gonna have to watch that fight. Anyways, so Derrick Lewis. So this is for the interim heavyweight championship. Now, reason why this is important is because the winner of this is going to fight Francis Ngannou, and I believe whoever wins this fight is going to beat Francis Ngannou easily. I think that Ciryl Gane, if he wins, is gonna. I think he's just a cleaner, bigger fighter, or he's a cleaner fighter with a bigger arsenal, and I think he's gonna just piece Ngannou up. Derrick Lewis, they fought already, and I think Lewis has the power that actually scares Ngannou. I think Lewis is the only dude who's got enough power to knock Ngannou on his fucking ass, and I think that he knows that, and he's afraid of it. So, my personal opinion here, my heart tells me Derrick Lewis, and my mind tells me Ciryl Gane, but I'm gonna go with Derrick Lewis because I've picked against Derrick Lewis before, and it hasn't ended up well. I think what's going to happen here, I think that Gane's going to look really good in the first round. And I think he's going to use his length. And I think he's going to use his skill set, his kicks and whatnot. And I think he's going to, I don't want to say scare Derrick Lewis, but he's going to keep him at bay. And then what's going to happen is Derrick Lewis is just going to do his normal shit. He's going to come in, catch him with something, go for it. And I really think he's going to catch him. I think he's going to drop him. I think it'll be a second round TKO for Derrick Lewis. And he will be the interim heavyweight champion.
I agree. My take on the fight is that Gane is gonna use his athleticism to move around early, probably tag him up a little bit, but he's a big fucking dude, and he's only gonna be able to move around so much.
Yeah.
And just like everyone else in MMA, he doesn't move his head. So at some point, he's gonna stop moving, and Derrick Lewis is gonna put him to sleep. So I see it kind of the same way that you do.
Yeah. I think that, like I said,
Because that dude definitely should beat Derrick Lewis, but I don't think he has the stamina. He's got too much muscle to carry around at the pace that he would need to stay away from Derrick Lewis the whole fight.
And I think that, like, the problem here is, like, again, if you base this fight off of aesthetics, if you look at this fight from the card, you're always going to pick Ciryl Gane. But Derrick Lewis has this it factor that just continues to show up every single time.
Yeah, the it factor is fucking punching power.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, we've talked about this many times. It doesn't matter if you're jujitsu or fucking wrestling or kickboxing.
Yep.
If you can hit, man, it nullifies all that other shit that you know.
Yeah.
If you get put to sleep, you can't be grappling somebody.
Yeah.
And that's the it factor that he can put anybody to sleep.
Yeah, and Gane, honestly, like Gane, like I don't say this lightly, like Gane has looked amazing because he's 9-0 in the UFC, hasn't lost. He's beat.
He looks.
Beat Rosenstrick. He beat Junior Dos Santos. He beat Tanner Bozer. You know, these are all legit talents, and like he's looked very good in each one. And like I said, Derrick Lewis just consistently has the one thing, which is power. And he just seems to get it done. It's ugly, but he just seems to get it done.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I think he actually just enjoys fighting, which is a different scenario.
Well, he's like a Homer Simpson.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, like, people punch themselves out trying to beat him up.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, I'm still here. And he swings that heavy ass arm.
Yep.
And knocks people out.
Yeah. And I think that moving forward, I really think what's going to happen here, like I said, I think who wins this fight is going to be Francis Ngannou, and I haven't been excited for a fight since like the Conor and Dustin fight because I love watching Derrick Lewis, and I think that like I said, Ciryl Gane is going to be that dude, or Derrick Lewis, whoever wins, but I really see Derrick Lewis just knocking this dude out cold, and it's just not going to be. It's going to be one of those unconventional wins for him that he adds to the books. And then again, I see Derrick Lewis as this dude who like accidentally backwalks his way into the heavyweight championship because it just makes the UFC better. So just to recap, got Casey Kenny by unanimous decision, Angela Hill, unanimous decision, Michael Chiesa, unanimous decision, Jose Aldo, unanimous decision, and I got Derrick Lewis with the second round TKO. It's in Houston. It's in his hometown. So you can't tell me that's not going to affect it. That's not going to make it better. But yeah, so again.
He might eat too much before the fight. He might eat too much before the fight. Maybe that'll fuck him up.
If anything, it's just going to make him fucking better.
He's going to give him more power.
He's going to eat fucking anything he needs, and then he's just going to fucking smash people. But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I think that's it for the weekend. And then I think next week we got a good fight in Cannonier and Gastelum. We got some good little cards coming up until the next big one, which is 266, which we got Volkanovski, Ortega, Valentina Shevchenko, and then Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler is back. It's going to be a good fight. So, yeah, boxing. Let's get into that.
Yeah, so we were supposed to have Connor Ben last week. Didn't happen because he got COVID. So Nothing over the weekend. This weekend we got Michael Conlon fighting. It's like an all Irish fight in. I think it's in.
Oh, I actually do
in
have some.
Dublin.
I have some boxing news, but go ahead. Keep talking.
What? Oh, okay. An all Irish fight against TJ Doheny. Um, like Michael Collins gonna fucking just smoke this guy.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And that's not like, look, the dude TJ Doheny actually has some skill. Um, he's pretty quick. Um, he's got really good balance. But he's just one of these guys that doesn't have a whole lot of tools in his toolbox. He's very vanilla. He attacks you one way and he defends one way. He doesn't really cut angles. He's a straightforward and back fighter. And Michael Conlon is creative. He's longer. He's taller. He's more experienced, but in a different way because he doesn't have as many. Michael Collins only got what 15 pro fights,
Mhm.
and TJ Doheny I think is like 22-2. So he's more experienced pro wise, but Michael Collins, with the Olympic background and all that, he's just gonna fucking tear him up. And honestly, I think we're gonna see a knockout like in the later round, like eighth round. I'm gonna say Michael Conlon puts him down. I'm gonna call too. I'm gonna say with a body shot.
All right.
There's something about the way that this dude Doheny moves around that just like I think his body is weak. Just I don't know what it is. Like there's nothing tangible about it. Like I can't quantify it, but there's something about him. I look at him, I'm like, I think that dude has a weak body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looks like the guy that like the way he moves around. It's like I think if he gets hit in the body, it's gonna fuck him up.
Flabby.
So I'm gonna say Conlon with a body shot in the 8th round.
All right. Let's get it.
Yeah.
All right. So my boxing news was Conor McGregor is doing a wheelchair boxing charity match.
What?
He's doing a wheelchair boxing charity match.
But I just want this guy to go away. I keep, I got to unfollow him on Instagram too. I keep seeing all these pictures, and every picture I see is just him in a suit or him in a bathing suit sitting in a chair.
Yeah, I know.
No, yeah, but even before that, it's always like he's either looking at a watch or standing like he's getting ready to fight in a suit or in a bathing suit. And I'm just tired of it. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what you're doing in your normal life. I don't give a shit. It's why you keep losing fucking fights because you're doing dumb shit like that.
Exactly.
Oh, look, I'm in Beverly Hills with Justin Bieber. Who gives a shit?
Well, he's doing a celebrity boxing match in a wheelchair. Charity. Yeah. Then I don't know if you watch much of Chris Algieri, but he our boxing coach at the gym trains Chris Algieri. He's in New York for the fight. He's fighting. Who's he fighting? LePierre.
Yeah, LePierre. Michael LePierre. I don't know who the fuck that is.
We'll go with Chris Algieri. We'll go with a 5th round KO. Flatline this dude. Apparently Chris looks really good. We're gonna stick with the home team here. We'll go Chris Algieri, the 5th round.
Chris Algieri is a decent boxer. He's always been a decent boxer. But I like Chris as a commentator, as an analyst. He's a very smart guy. He's an articulate guy. I don't know what the fuck his plan is, doing this fighting shit. But the guys in that division, it's not. I think he should pass on all of it and just stick to the fucking, commentary.
Maybe that's why he's on Triller. He's just trying to get that check.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, he's got a good gig, man. You know what I mean? So, but I don't
Maybe
know.
they asked him. Maybe they just paid him a decent amount of money. I don't know. I
He's
don't know
not.
the inside.
Listen, he's not that good of a fighter for like. I don't want to see him fight.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not excited. Like, oh, Chris Algieri's coming back. So,
I love it.
I mean, again, he's
Just
decent.
raw
The
honesty.
dude has skill. The dude has skill. He's a tough guy, but I mean, it's not exciting. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
It's fucking hilarious. All right. So went over the Connor, went over Chris Algieri, went over Michael Conlon. Other news, as of right now, it looks like Canelo and Caleb Plant is no more.
Yeah.
I also fucking had someone tell me this weekend that what the fuck did they say? Oh, Ryan Garcia would. Oh, was it Ryan Garcia? Ryan Garcia would box the shit out of Devin Haney. I had
Who's
someone like
who do
actually,
that?
someone actually arguing me that Ryan Garcia would box the shit out of Devin Haney.
I don't think Ryan Garcia is really boxing the shit out of anybody these days.
I don't think he
I
can
don't
hit
know
a
what's going
heavyweight
on. This
hard.
dude keeps talking shit like he wants to fight everybody, but there's nothing on the horizon, pal.
Yeah,
I mean, we got no fight date, we got no opponent, but
nothing.
this dude keeps talking shit about all these guys he's gonna fight and nothing.
Yeah,
I just keep seeing dumb videos of him hitting the fucking Cobra bag and getting 9 million other kids thinking that hitting the Cobra bag is something cool. Yeah, that's stupid.
well,
That's another thing. I want to go on a whole rant about the Cobra bag and how dumb it is. Use the fucking double M bag, right? There's
is the
certain things
Cobra
like
bag the
I
reflex
got
bag?
this, huh?
That Cobra bag's a reflex bag.
Yeah, it's the bag with the spring on it that's got the foam
Yeah,
that sticks in the ground. It serves the same purpose, just not as well as the double M bag.
yeah, yeah.
The double M bag is one of these tools that's been around for over 100 years. Doesn't need to be changed. Sometimes human beings need to fucking stop with trying to invent new shit that
Yeah.
make things easier. Like now they got this robot on the wall that like swings at you and you duck and put. That's why we spar. That's why we do the mitts. That's why we do bag work. That's why we have a slip bag.
Did
That's
you know
why.
John Danaher said that in boxing that mitts weren't like introduced until like the 70s.
What? No.
Yeah, he said that it was only like it was like Muhammad Ali never used mitts, like people like that like never used
Yeah, but
mitts.
it was interesting. Yeah, maybe it wasn't a big thing, but dude, you can see photos of guys like way back in the day with coaches wearing punch mitts.
I don't know. He said that I'll have to find it. I'll have to find it and send it to you. He was on the Rogan podcast, and he was talking
Who said
about
that?
John Danaher. Do you know who John Danaher is?
No.
Oh, sorry. He's like the best jiu-jitsu coach like ever. He trains like Gordon Ryan and all those guys. He's also like he trained George St. Pierre. Like he was in George St. Pierre's corner, and he's like one of the best fight minds in the world. Like boxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu. He's trained he trained at Henzo's in the city, like Henzo Gracie. He was like their main guy down there, and then he moved. But he's trained like Gordon Ryan's like the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world, and he's his coach. But he was talking about boxing, and he knows like everything, dude. Like he knows any fight, you name it, he's watched it. Dude's like a fucking fight freak.
Yeah, so it says here that focus mitts have been made their way to the United States in the late 1700s. So I don't know what the fuck he was talking about.
I don't know. He was talking. I don't know. I have to. I'm gonna have to find it and send it to you.
I mean, again, like yeah, I get it. Like maybe they weren't used in boxing by everyone. Like like now everyone uses the mitts. Like that's part of normal training. So I could see that. Yeah, maybe it's then like it became popular in boxing, but
maybe it was that he was talking. I'm gonna have to find it.
yeah.
I'll have to listen
Because
to it.
they've been around. I've seen pictures of like old ass coaches, fucking like back in the like Jack Johnson's era with fucking coaches wearing punch mitts. So they've been around. It's like yeah, maybe not everyone used them, but they've been around.
Yeah. No.
Hey, listen, everyone on Joe Rogan's podcast is a fucking asshole.
No,
Like,
John
like,
Danaher's cool. I think you'd like John Danaher.
dude,
He's a dope dude.
these conversations, like Joe Rogan has these people on, and it's like, yeah, it seems like it'll be interesting, and then Joe Rogan just makes it terrible.
Well, Danaher's a smart dude. You should listen to him. But yeah. So the that's it for boxing, I think. Well, the other news, like I said, Caleb Plant, we didn't finish that, fell through. So it looks like Canelo is going to be fighting Dimitri Bivol,
Yeah, at 175 for
175,
Bivol's belt for his light heavyweight belt.
if Canelo, well, when Canelo wins, he's gonna, this is gonna be impressive. Let's just put it that way. This is a
Yeah,
huge,
yeah. Like when we talk about it, we'll get more into it. But Bivol is a real threat. Like he's even more of a threat than Kovalev was at 175.
yeah.
Much more of a threat because Bivol can fucking box. Bivol has, he may not have the one punch power that Kovalev has, but he can box his ass off, dude. And he's got power. So it's a dangerous fight. Like I'm impressed. Like this dude Canelo was a real deal.
I just got this sick Canelo canvas for my apartment. I gotta hang it up. It's dope.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so again, big weekend in the UFC and a light weekend in boxing. Got a couple things coming up for boxing that obviously we'll break down as we get closer. As Jake keeps saying, in the next couple of months, boxing gets back on track and we start to get up there a little bit more again. But as always, if you guys have any questions, if there's anybody you want us to watch or check out, let us know and we'll do that. Anything? Any last words? Anything to go over that we're not missing out on?
Um, now I want to make sure. Nah, man, I think we covered everything
All
we
right.
covered this week.
We'll see you guys next week. Peace.